Hey, welcome back to either the Enduro Mike YouTube channel or the SBR Fit Facebook page and the videos channel within that page. No hat today, it's because I've had a haircut. Happy days. Lockdown, I still managed to get a haircut. One of the benefits of having hair like this, or not having hair like this, whatever you may think. Okay, so today I want to do something a little bit different, and I think I'm going to try and do this every Monday. There's two reasons why I want to do this. I'm going to explain what I'm doing in a second, but I want to tell you why first of all. So firstly, to give myself some accountability for training. So I want to be held to account for what I'm doing, pretty much. And secondly, because I want to maybe try and give some insight to those of you who are training for long distance triathlon, whether that is medium or long, so half Ironman or Ironman distance, just to see kind of what the detail that goes into trying to be fast, right? Now, I'm not going to go out there and say that I'm a super fast athlete or anything like that, but I haven't really made a secret of the fact that one of my big goals is to qualify for Kona and to go to Hawaii and race there, which means that, you know, at one Ironman somewhere in the world, I need to probably win or finish second or third in my age group, right? So my training is focused around that. As a side note to that, this year, you know, it's 2021, we're sat in January, it's January the 18th now. Whether this happens or not will be a bit of a different story, but as we stand at the moment, I am entered in Ironman Lanzarote in May. I've also been fortunate enough to qualify for the GB age group team for the middle distance European Championships in Austria. I'm not going to say where it is because, being honest with you, I can't pronounce it. So in Austria, somewhere. That's in June. And then I've got a race in Eastbourne, an Ironman distance race in Eastbourne in July. So that's kind of my year. But so I need to operate at a fairly high level. And I want to just demonstrate kind of what that looks like, and so that you can see. Okay. So this Monday session is going to be me dissecting my previous week's training and kind of having a look at how that compares to the week before, so that there's you can see the progression in it, and then sort of giving a little overview of what's going to happen in the next week. So, without further ado, what's going to happen now is my Training Peaks account is going to pop up somewhere on the screen, and we're going to have a little chat through that one. All right. Okay, boom, as if by magic. Okay, so this is last week. You can see there, the 11th to the 17th of January 2021. Can you believe that we're now over halfway through January? Unreal, eh? Okay. So the first thing that you're going to see is that there are little bits of red dotted here, there, and everywhere. Well, that is because at the moment we can't swim. But when I structured this plan, I was quite specific with what I wanted to do swimming-wise. And if I delete those sessions, then I'm not going to know kind of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to miss. So I know that some of you who use Training Peaks really don't like seeing red stuff on it. I don't really care that much. Yeah, so it's staying there and it's telling me what I've not managed to do. So that's the red. I suppose the first place that we want to look at is what was the overall training load of last week. So if we have a look up here in this corner, the top right hand corner, you can see the different bits that Training Peaks tells you. Now, I'm going to do a video that actually explains what all this stuff means, because some of it, you know, what is TSS and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so what we can see is that last week, my weekly training load, we call that acute training load, so you may see that as ATL in places. was 104. As you see ATL there. What that shows you is that over that sort of 7-day period, the load has kind of gone up a lot. If you compare it to the chronic training load, which is kind of your sort of training over the period of time that came before that. Yeah? Which is a very, very rough description. But there will be, once I've done the video, there will be a link to that video that explains all this stuff somewhere on the screen. Okay. Anyway, so what you can see there is that the form, so form is your fitness, so the chronic training load and the fatigue taken into account. Right. So if you have a look, if you've got a 72 on CTL and 104, that leaves you with minus 29, which shows you that although my fitness is getting very, very high, because of the amount of training that I'm doing, my performance, if I was to go and race, probably wouldn't be that high. Now, there's a lot of debate about whether this actually means much, but it's quite a good sort of guide for sort of where you're at roughly. Okay, so that's that. Coming down, we've then got our total duration. So I had planned 15.5 hours of training in there, 15 hours 36. But because we've got the reds here on the swimming, I ended up doing 12 hours 42 of training. And that then gave me an overall training stress score. So training stress score is dictated largely by the figures that you put in for your lactate threshold or FTP on the bike, or your lactate threshold and threshold run pace on the run. And it looks at how much time you've spent as a percentage of those, which is a very quick explanation of what that means. So that gives you a score, and you can see as you go through each session has a score on TSS, which kind of tells you how hard the session was. Yeah. So my score on TSS was 801. It was supposed to be 975. Again, that's because lack of swimming. Okay. Swim duration, meant to be 2 hours 50, 0. Swim distance, 7,900 yards, which I think, oh, we've got miles up here. It was saying kilometers earlier. Anyway, so no swimming really happened. I had 8 hours and 50 minutes of cycling planned, and I managed 8 hours and 49 minutes, so a minute went awry somewhere, so I'm on track with that. Run, 3 hours 56 was planned, 3 hours 53 got done, and you can see here that I had planned 33.8 miles of distance in running, and I managed 33.1, so decent enough amount of running. If we have a look at the previous week, I upped that from 23.6 to 33.1, so an extra 10 miles of running this week. That's quite a lot. Previous week was a rest week, just before you all start going, whoa, that's a serious amount. Alright, so calm. And that's about it, really. My plan, my annual training plan was 950, so I wasn't too far away from that. You know, I'm not, in terms of where I should be at this point in time, I'm kind of there. So let's have a look at some sessions, yeah? So we started off Monday with some threshold work on the bike. Now, Monday's a bit of an interesting one. I always put optional sessions in on a Monday. So if I don't do them, it doesn't mess me up for the rest of the week. If you watch my goal setting and my goal assessment videos, you'll understand why. It's because my mindset works that way. So this is quite good for me. So threshold efforts felt quite nice, and then I hit a 30-minute treadmill run. It's the only time I run on the treadmill is after that session when I'm doing that brick. The reason why I did that, and I do this as a brick session, is because my big weakness is running off a hard bike. Yeah, for some reason, every time I try and run off a hard bike, my legs just cramp up solid, and it's something that is an issue. So what I've decided is that base building period, as you can see, I'm in week number 1 of my second base period, is focused on running off hard bikes. So there's lots of little brick sessions in here that I'm going to show you, which are to help me get towards that goal. So that was literally a 30-minute run off those. Those were threshold efforts. So if I open this up, you'll see what the detail was. So if we have a look, you've got 10-minute warm-up, roughly, and then a little sort of spike just to get the heart rate properly up there and get ready. So that was 15 seconds between 300 and 350-ish watts with a easy recovery in zone 2. Then we had the real work, which was 6 minutes, so it's a kind of a pyramid block in terms of time. So 6 minutes between 315 and 350, then 7 minutes the same, then 8 minutes the same with zone 2 recoveries. It's quite a tough session, this one. That 8-minute block at between 315 to 350 watts, it bites, man. It's a nasty one. So that was that. Being honest, came out of that with proper dead legs, which is kind of what I wanted. And then straight into the run on the treadmill. I was running that off 6-minute 30-mile pace. So, yeah, quite a nice little run there. Was it? Oh no, it was 7-minute mile pace. Sorry, I'm making myself seem a lot better. A lot better than I actually am. 7-minute mile pace. Being honest, 7-minute mile pace, if I can hit that in my marathon and Ironman, I'll be happy. Okay. Then we had Tuesday was breakthrough session running. So speed play 18. I messed that session up. Plan with that one was to do 2.5-minute intervals. I then on the morning decided that wasn't going to happen because I wasn't feeling up for it. Changed the session, so you can now see on here I changed it to 2-minute intervals. But it didn't update to my Garmin. So I ended up doing the first session anyway, and just decided that I needed to toughen up, really. Stop being so lazy. And then just nice easy aerobic stuff on the bike. Coming into Wednesday, the Team Ulster Zwift hideous bloody chase race that I've decided is a good sort of breakthrough real hard bike session. So I put it in for, it's in orange because I put it in for an hour, but it was actually only about 45 minutes. But you can see there that we're kind of hitting 67 TSS. So as a background on TSS, 100 TSS would be if I was at my FTP for 60 minutes. Okay, so that is it's a hard workout, that one, and it's a nasty workout. So what are we looking at here? So averages on heart rate 171, which is fairly high for me, and an average power output for 302 watts for 45 minutes. Fun times. You guys can imagine what that's like. Anyway, so that's that. Again, skipped swim. Then optional aerobic ride, that one's really just to loosen the legs off after Wednesday night, because it is a killer. So loosen the legs off in the morning, and then tempo run in the afternoon. Tempo run didn't really go very well, largely because it was in the dark, and the route that I chose, my tempo element was down a country lane, which I thought had lights on it. And I don't know why I thought it had lights on it, but it didn't have lights on it. So I was running pretty much in the pitch black, and trying to run a 5:40 minute to 6:05 minute mile pace in the dark on a road that you don't know what's in front of you. Doesn't really work that well. So this one ended up being a little bit of a dodgy session. I wasn't happy with that one, but hey ho, it goes. We then had this thing, and this session is hideous. I put a post on my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, just talking about this session. This session is nasty. So it's 15 minutes, and it works around and about, Zwift puts me at about 290 watts. So 6 blocks of 15 minutes at 290 watts with a recovery at 3 minutes. it does sound hard, but it doesn't sound as hard as it potentially is. Those last two, so blocks 5 and block 6, are just nasty and horrible. The idea behind this one is I'm going to do a video about reverse periodization. What I'm trying to do at this point in time is I'm trying to jack my threshold values up nice and high, so that then whenever we get to the build period, so the final sort of 8 weeks before Lanzarote, I can then increase the duration but decrease the intensity to get it more race pace like, rather than trying to hold duration and increase intensity, if that makes sense. Yeah, but I'll do a video about that. But so this is why I'm doing this sort of session now, because I know that there's a few, especially those of you that come from a cycling background, that would be like, this guy's an idiot, what is he doing? So that's the reason why I'm doing that sort of session at the moment. As you can see there, 3 hours and 17 minutes, 56 miles. That was the 4 horsemen route on Zwift. If you're into Zwift, check the 4 horsemen route out. It's actually quite good. It takes you over all of the big KOM climbs in Watopia in one go. You get up Alpe d'Huez as well, or Alpe de Zwift, sorry. Managed to get up Alpe de Zwift in 56 minutes because I was riding those stupid intervals. So that was fun. Then Saturday, so this ride should have been Sunday, and then this Sunday session should have been Saturday, because I like to do my long run the day before a long bike, if that works. But I had to teach for my actual real job on Saturday morning, so what I did was I moved the Friday session, which is the foundation bike there, from Friday to Saturday. I moved the Sunday bike from Sunday to Friday, and then I put in the run that I was going to do on Saturday into Sunday, so that there was a bit of a split between it. So that's why it kind of looks like that. So Saturday, 60-minute foundation ride. This is going to sound really weird, but that 60-minute foundation ride mentally was the hardest session that I did this week. Mentally, not physically. Physically was the sub-threshold efforts, followed closely by the Zwift race. But that 60-minute foundation, just zone 2, solid. You can see the block on it there. That block, just solid zone 2 for 50 minutes with 5 minutes either side of it. Because my legs were so toasted from this, it was just nasty. But it helped, it brought them around a little bit. So then yesterday, we had fast finish. The reason why this is here is, again, because of that weakness that I have of running off a hard bike. What I want to do is I want to condition my legs into it. So fast finish is an interesting session in that there's no cool down to it. So you warm up for 5 minutes, then we've got 25 minutes kind of high end zone 2, and then 10 minutes very much sort of in zone 3 and zone 4. So I know that this is above Ironman race pace, but the idea is to kind of zap the legs just that little bit so that they have to work hard in the run. So 276 to 300 for 10 minutes. Nice little session, 40 minutes. Then straight off that and straight out onto the roads to run, which was aerobic intervals. Dead easy. Really nice. So just zone 2 stuff. 15-minute blocks with a nice little recovery in it. Interestingly enough, this session was done on the same route as that tempo session, so you can see the difference between the two. Slightly longer, but there we go. So that's last week. This week we are into week number 2 of base, or base 2, week 2 base 2. So you can see here, the time's jacked up to sort of 17 hours. That's probably going to be 15. Take the swims off. TSS up at 1100. That's probably going to work out. If we look at last week, I would say that's probably going to be about 1,000. There and thereabouts. The session's all kind of the same, but all we're doing within those is just increasing the duration of the intervals or increasing the amount of intervals. That's all that's going to change for next week. and then the previous week, as I said, was a recovery week. And that was that. So hopefully that has given you a nice little sort of background, a nice little insight into what that looks like. This is going to be something that happens every Monday, I'm going to say. Hopefully it will do. More so to keep me in check and make sure that I'm actually doing stuff than anything else. But if you have any comments on this week, please fire them into the comment section below on YouTube, or I suppose it's a comment section as well below this on Facebook. That would be great. If you have any questions, please fire them in as well. I'll stick my email address in underneath this too, so that if you want to email me with any questions that you might have around training or about why I'm doing something, because I know that some of the stuff that's in here might look a little bit out there, fire them in as well. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to either the YouTube channel or like the Facebook page. Share it with your friends. Drop in as many comments as you wish, and hopefully I will see you guys in another video very soon. Thanks. See you later.